Welcome to another episode of City of Sanford's podcast called Sanford Says. My name is Lisa Holder, Communications Officer for the City of Sanford. And I have the pleasure of having Hope Duncan with me today. Hope Duncan is the city's environmental coordinator. Hope works with the utility department. And Hope, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
Well, Hope is going to talk to us about some important community outreach programs that she is responsible for at the City of Sanford. And although they may be not so attractive all the time to talk about, they're extremely important and critical to the infrastructure for the City of Sanford. So, Hope, can you share with us some of the items that you're responsible for as it relates to the community outreach that you do as an environmental coordinator for the City of Sanford, such as that incredible oil and grease prevention program that you yourself have created and the recycling location that we have? Let's start with that.
Okay, so my job is not the most glamorous job, but somebody has to do it. Basically, my job is to prevent sanitary sewer overflows throughout the City of Sanford. And I do that by regulating any restaurants or mechanical repair facilities that produce oils and greases. Basically, they have to install the appropriate pretreatment device at any of these facilities to prevent the discharge of fats, oils, and grease into the city's sewer system. The oil and grease prevention program is actually established by city code, and I am responsible for enforcing that code. I basically go out and I inspect all of the restaurants to ensure that they have a grease trap or a grease interceptor in place. Basically, a grease trap or a grease interceptor is just basically a box that receives flow from any floor drains, any kitchen sinks, any dishwashers located within the facility. The wastewater flows into this box, it slows down, and the grease settles out, and it traps the grease behind, which is why it's called a grease trap. And then basically they have to ensure that they pump out that grease trap every 90 days typically and provide a manifest to prove that they pumped it out and properly disposed of it at a waste disposal facility. The program is very important because it prevents the discharges of oil and greases not only into the city's sewer system but also into the wastewater treatment plant. The grease is the number one cause of sewage overflows, not only here in the city of Sanford, but throughout the nation and actually throughout the world. You've probably seen it on the news talking about the fatberg, the size of the bus over in London. We have the same issues here, not that large, but we do have grease issues, so that's why my job's pretty important. I did mention mechanical repair facilities as well. That is for petroleum products, even though it's not quite as bothersome to the sewer system and the wastewater treatment plant. It is in a way because of the chemicals associated with mechanical repair facilities. So the oil water separator is basically the same thing as a grease trap, and it traps the petroleum oils and stops those from discharging into the city's wastewater treatment plant.
So what you're saying is you're responsible for businesses in the City of Sanford to make sure that they are adhering to these very important rules set forth by code. But also there's another side to it where our Sanford residents can be very responsible themselves in their own homes to make sure that they're doing their part as it relates to our FatFree program, sewer program.
Yeah, that's correct. The code establishes commercial facilities only. There is a caveat to that. I'll get to your next question in a second, Lisa.
Okay.
The caveat to that is new apartment complexes or condo complexes coming into the city of Sanford are also required to install grease traps because you would have multifamily residential in a dense area discharging excessive amounts of grease. So we do require grease traps at those types of facilities as well. The code only allows us to regulate the commercial facilities and the multifamily units. So when I started with the city about 5 years ago, I helped to develop the FatFree Sewers program, which is basically a public outreach program where we created a FatFree Sewers board that is on display at City Hall in the Utility Customer Service Department. You can look at it when you come in. And it basically teaches people why you should not pour oils and greases down the drain. We're talking anything from, used cooking oil from frying bacon or hamburger or chicken, but also salad dressings, milks because they're full of fat, You want to avoid pouring those down your drain or even pouring them out in the yard, because I've heard that before as well. That creates environmental pollution. So we have established 2 recycling centers for used cooking oils and greases. Please note that I said cooking oils only. They are located, one is at the utility department at 412 West 14th Street. That's over there near the barn. And the other one is at the fire department, and that is located on Airport Boulevard, just behind Airport Lanes, the bowling alley. You can go 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and drop off your used oils and greases. What we ask you to do is we prefer a shatterproof container if you have it, and a sealed container. You just collect the oils and greases after you're done cooking into these containers. You just drop them off into the shed, and then we ensure they're properly disposed of and recycled by a local waste hauler here in the Orlando area.
So the next time you're in your kitchen and you're frying that bacon or you're grilling that burger, and you're about to take that frying pan and dump it into your kitchen sink, think about Hope Duncan. Think about the important reasons she's sharing with you today, where you should just grab that container and put it aside and gather an amount enough to take to this facility so that you can help in the process. Everybody has their own part in this, and we all together can prevent large sewer overflows that Hope is speaking of, such as that Fatberg, where I think there's a video of it on YouTube that you've shared on our social media too. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. A couple weeks ago I put it out on Nextdoor as well as Facebook, so you can take a look at it. Like I said, grease is not the most glamorous topic, but it's a necessary evil, what I do in my job, because otherwise you would have sewage overflows all the time due to those grease blockages. Now, I did mention that the cooking oil recycling centers are for cooking oil only. If you have to recycle the petroleum oils, you can take those actually to local used auto parts stores, and they typically have them there for proper disposal. We don't want it dumped to the environment either, because it can seep into the ground and get into our waterways. And a lot of people say that they throw it in the trash, but we prefer you to recycle it instead of taking it to the trash and adding to the trash in the landfill.
I know that you've mentioned, or you shared with us before, how many gallons after, for instance, like a holiday, like Thanksgiving holiday or those big cooking season type times of the year, we've collected an enormous amount from the community that did not go into our land.
Absolutely. Over the holidays, I actually entered a contest with the Florida Industrial Pretreatment Association for the most used cooking oil recycled for a municipality. I'm still anticipating the results, but we had them empty the containers just prior to Thanksgiving and then empty them again right after the new year, and we collected over 250 gallons of used oil in just that short amount of time, and that's courtesy of all the Sanford residents, and I really appreciate it. So does our wastewater treatment plant and our sewer system.
Can you repeat those locations for the listeners, Hope?
Yeah, one is located just outside the fence at the main entrance to the utility department, located at 412 West 14th Street. And the second one is located at the fire department at 300 East Airport Boulevard. That's right there behind Airport Lanes, the bowling alley.
And I understand, Hope, you also take this speaking type topic out to schools. You're available to speak to Rotary clubs. Is that true? Can people ask you for time to speak at their organizations to help spread the word?
Yes, that's why we created the FatFree Sewers Board and made sure that it was portable so that we can pick it up and take it anywhere, to any local community event, any apartment complex, maybe retirement home. I also am on the Seminole County Speakers Bureau, Seminole County Public Schools Speakers Bureau. So I participate in the teach-in once a year, but any teachers can call me out. I tailor the curriculum from about third grade up to seniors. Depending on the complexity, I can give a shorter or a more lengthy presentation. And the intent of that is to educate the students so that they can in turn go home and educate their parents and loved ones.
That is awesome. And see, this is really why we have this podcast in place, is so that we can get the information out for the city of Sanford and share with the public, the visitors, our residents, what we have going on here, what services that are available that our staff perform each and every day. Hope, is there anything else that you'd like to share with our listeners about what you do for the city of Sanford? We would love to have you come back on the show, but Is there something that you wanted to highlight at this point outside of what you already mentioned?
We also, even though it's not directly related to grease, I also do community outreach with the Do Not Flush program because there are so many non-flushables being flushed down the drains, including feminine products, Q-tips, cotton balls, wipes. People are putting things down the drain, such as dental floss, things that should not be going down the toilet, the sink drains, the bathroom drains, your hair when you wash your hair. So we created an additional board called Do Not Flush to educate people on that as well, and that is also portable. The only thing that should be flushed down the toilet is PPTP. That's pee, poop, and toilet paper. Even though wipes may be labeled flushable, they are technically not flushable because they are way thicker than toilet paper and are not designed to break down in the city's sewer system. They actually can create ropes in the system, and those get wrapped around the pumps in our city lift stations, and then the pumps break down, and then we have sewage overflows. So I try to do a lot of community outreach on that as well to prevent that from going down the drains.
Because ultimately, how does that affect the listener? If we have those overflows, how would that affect them? They may not think, well, why would I care if it's not affecting my home personally? But
it could settle out actually on the listener's property. If it settles out at a low point in the piping, it would be on the property owner to remove that blockage. But 9 times out of 10, it gets into the city sewer system, and it gets caught at bins or offsets in our pipes, or can get into our lift stations. It also can make it into the wastewater treatment plant, and we have to remove those excessive solids prior to treatment.
Wonderful. Well, I think today's lesson is grease is the word. Fatbergs, don't flush. What was that?
PPTP is the only thing you should flush. Pee, poop, and toilet paper only. I tried to keep it user-friendly, and I like to teach the kids that so they can go home and teach everyone at home.
And I think some adults would love to listen to that too. So we appreciate, we didn't say that this was going to be something that you would may listen to over dinner, but you can. This is important information. We really appreciate Hope Duncan visiting us today from the Sanford Utility Department. Hope Duncan is the Environmental Coordinator for the City of Sanford, and she has a lot of work to do and to keep up, and she is a great community outreach speaker. So again, if you're interested in having Hope come out to your organization, schools, please contact Hope. Hope, what's your phone number and email?
407-416-3367. That is my cell phone. And then my desk phone is 407-688-5000, extension 5512. And then my email is hope.duncan@sanfordfl.gov.
And that's it for the show today. Hope Duncan, City of Sanford Environmental Coordinator, our guest. Thank you again for listening to the City of Sanford's podcast, Sanford Says. We can be reached on sanfordfl.gov. That's the city website, at sanfordfl.gov. Don't forget to connect with the city, too, on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Nextdoor. At this time, it's Lisa Holder signing off, Communications Officer for the City of Sanford. Bye-bye.